there.
You need this.
Morning.
Yes, Robert.
How are you? How are you doing?
Good. You're not used to seeing me, right?
I'm right
Okay,
behind Brian.
all right, I'll make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second?
Roll call?
Sabrina?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Is there action?
No action.
Okay. Where would you like us to be?
You get the two front and center seats.
Hey, can't do better than that.
We reserved special seating for you.
Good, good. I'm gonna sit near the ladies because I can hear men's voices, but
Okay, so take that side.
I can't hear women's voices very well.
No, God did that on purpose. And that's scientifically proven. That's the pitch.
Thank you. I went to the ear doctor and I told my wife, she said, you must love him a lot. She said, why? He can't hear a word you're saying.
Let's see. No, don't go with pictures, those are grandkids. Yeah, try that PowerPoint and see.
Well, your wife does have a softer voice than most.
Next one up. Yeah,
Parking lot?
PowerPoint, yep, PowerPoint.
Like, what's his name would say,
Let's see
"Go
that.
popcorn."
I converted a PFD to PowerPoint. Hopefully that,
I say you might want to turn your cameras onto the.
You wanna watch that, or? The public hasn't seen
I
this.
turned mine to that.
Oh,
Oh, did
okay.
you? Okay, I see one's turn it.
and then we can just go to the, this, hopefully that all shows up okay. Does that look all right?
This is that Ravenna plan.
Okay.
Cheers.
Can we-
Oh,
Can we shut off some of the lights
Sure.
aiming to?
all right. Do you guys have a pointer?
No.
Mine ran out of juice.
You know
but
what?
probably not
It's,
here.
I think there's the red light right here. Push that.
There's red lights up
Here
there.
it is.
Where? Oh, it's right there.
There we go.
And I want to go forward with the slide, just push up.
There we
Oh,
go.
this one.
This one, okay.
On the side, both of them.
Is it good?
Yep.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm David Dix, and I know all of you, and you know Bill. He's a retired geologist who worked with BP. And about a year ago, there was a group of well-meaning citizens. Neil Mann was part of it, I was part of it, and there was some other businessmen, and we went out and raised money to hire Jason Kentner. And Jason grew up in Ravenna. He became a landscape architect. He's on the faculty at Ohio State. His master's degree is from Harvard University, so he knows what he's doing. And the idea was to come up with sort of a what-if type of plan for downtown Ravenna, because you know, if you look around at towns, a lot of towns don't even have a downtown. And Ravenna is very fortunate that it has a downtown that grew up over the last 200 years. That's really a beautiful downtown. And the you guys have been nice and listened to me before. I've talked about beautifying the community, and Jason came up with some. I mean, he's a lot more. He's knowledgeable, so he came up with a plan, and so Bill is with Main Street Ravenna, and I'm sort of a volunteer there whenever they want me to help out. And Bill has been on this also from the get-go, so Bill is going to take us through the plan, and you know, so I'll let Bill, you go ahead.
Thanks. Well, what we're going to focus on today is simply the parking aspect of it. And I just want to step back just give a little bit more of the background of that. When we talked to Jason, what we wanted to do was to work on a way that we could get the areas of the town closer together. We want to do two things. One is we like to be able to take something like the administration building down here, give that nice pathway so people can come from here downtown, and the other way around as well. It's only a 5-minute walk, but it seems like a very long walk because you just go from parking lot, some sidewalks, and parking lot, sidewalks. So what we'd like to do is try to make that so it's a more pleasant walk. And the reason for that is we're trying to develop that sense of place for Ravenna. You know, where people come and they say, boy, this is really a nice place. You've got that sense of place that it's, things are going on here, there's some life to it. And it gives you the sense of wanting to stop in, stop and visit and stay there a while. The other part of the plan, we deal with a lot of the widening some of the sidewalks and giving some more areas downtown. But what we wanted to talk about today was the parking lot aspect, because we understand you might be looking to do some work at the parking lots.
Correct.
So, I just want, these first two slides, just to let you know, Jason was not kidding around. He and his group, they took a look at all the parking in the area. They called it a parking topology map, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but they counted parking spaces. You know, so they counted business spaces, government's parking, public parking, street parking, and housing in the downtown area. They also took a look at parking types. So whether you've got them on the streets, or you've got them in the lanes, and how people access those parking spots. So we get a good sense on what is available and how it looks. Is it okay if I stand up? I'm not going to be in your way, am I?
You can come back in, because they're sitting here, you could have your seat.
Okay.
And I just want to take two slides to show you, this isn't just about the county, but this is the downtown area as well. This is the parking lot behind, I call it Scorman's, but it's behind the Buckeye Mall, the Chonies. Yep, and there's the theater over there. And again, when you come into town and you're told, you know, you can park back there, picture you're coming in with a young family and a little baby, or you're an old person and you come in and you have to park in this parking lot and then walk up an alleyway. You know, how can you make that more attractive so people are happy to park around there? One way you can do that is with some landscaping. So what this has done is you landscape this area through here so that it becomes like you're parking in a park. It's inviting, people want to come, you feel more comfortable there. Also, you can highlight things like the Episcopal Church over here as well. It sort of gives that whole park sense.
Could you do a flashback, go to the slide before that?
Yep,
Okay, do that again, please.
yep.
Okay, thank you.
One of the ways that we took a look at this also, and Jason talked to us a lot about, is shared spaces and also multi-use. And you can see like this truck over here is in the grass area. You know, if you can have the regular parking that's just in this area, but as you have events come in and you need to expand, you expand out a little bit. That way you don't lose a lot of spaces for when you really need them. And this is just down a Locust Lane. Again, it softens that up with some trees and some landscaping in that area. So now, we'll take a look. This is the courthouse parking lot. This is the one coming up, just to get you oriented. Here's the courthouse, here's the EMS building, this is Spruce. This is Meridian, Riddle. So this is your parking lot. It's asphalt, a little bit of grass around it. Nice, actually, this is a nice area over here. So this is how it looks right now. And one way, and again, these are conceptual designs. This is the way you have to do it. But this is just to get us thinking about it. Then you can have an engineer take a look and say, okay, these are some of the things we need to think about and do. This is just taking a look at the other side before. And here's something you could do there as well. So now, again, you've got this whole area with a lot of greenery around it. You've got some trees around here. This is probably about a 5-minute walk from down here to downtown. But when you walk to the park, you know, it becomes a much more enjoyable walk. Now, you know, this, I think when this was first looked at, I think there were about 140 parking spaces there.
Yep.
Yep. So, this is the park-like downtown multi-use lot. Oops, sorry.
Could you go backwards again?
Oh, yeah.
I just seeing both of them one after the other.
I guess I can't go backwards.
Yeah, you can, yeah,
There.
there you go.
Do you want another back?
That one, the overview. Yep, that one.
Yeah. I think the thing I look on here as well, this is, what is this, Lynn Lane? It cuts across the two over here as well. And I think that you have a lot of the parking up in this area and spills over here. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
That's a-
Yeah, it's the overflow.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's employees that park up there as well.
Okay.
And that's where the jurors are responsible to park, whether they're waiting to be selected for jury or they park for jury duty.
Yeah, thank you. One of the things that we talked about, and again, I've gotten a lot of education from Jason, he said, the question is how many parking spaces do you need, when do you need them? You know, so that's, as you go through it, and you talk to the engineers, that's a question that comes up. What do we need to design for? So this is, you saw this park like, and then you can take a look at that from the street level. You know, you can do things so that even walking over there, it feels like you've gone not just to an asphalt parking lot, but someplace that's a little more comfortable. One of the things we're looking at within the design plan that's been suggested is we reroute the bus from Main Street to down over here, so you have a little bus stop. You can have something that's, you know, open up for lawn, seating, just a number of things that make it more comfortable, more inviting.
So you said there's 140 parking spaces start. When it ends, how many are?
Well, depends on how we want to do it. I called Jason and said, Jason, what the heck?
These are gonna be questions, Jason.
Yeah, well, let me show you this one now. This one is another way of taking a look at the landscaping around here. This was 120 spaces. And I just get you oriented. This is Meridian. He's turned it around a little bit. Here's Meridian over here. This is Parkway down here. Here's the courthouse. Here's the police and
Police
the fire.
station.
Safety building,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is about 120 spaces. You know, the concept here was, you know, you can still have some trees around the outside of it over here. Maybe not some along this area, but, you know, if you can think about, you know, bringing the drive in over here, you know, you can help with the traffic flow, but it still has a pull-in spaces. And this goes to 120. So you lose 20 spaces. And again, one of the things that I think is interesting is that this is Lynn, and it cuts over Lynn. And I think that this, when it was the whole open space, it was about a 55,000 square feet. And this one shows, this layout is layout number one, it's 4,700 square feet.
Bill, the only thing that concerns me is, 20 spaces don't seem like a lot, but there's room that we may eventually add another judge in the common pleas there. And if that's the case, we would need every space there. So that's just something to think about
Yeah, yeah.
too.
Well, that's a good point, and that, again, you know,
Yeah.
you take a look at those, the engineers who say, all right, now I gotta put pencil to paper, and how do we go?
Yeah.
And so the question is,
Yeah.
do I, you know, come back over this way with something different with the trees? Do I do a little bit different over
Mhm.
there? But it's that whole concept of how can I make this
Yeah.
attractive?
Inviting.
Inviting, yeah. And I want it inviting so that people will walk from this building downtown if they have a meeting. And again, you have so many people coming into Portage County from outside the area. The first place they come to visit is a parking lot. You know, we want that to look inviting. We want them to feel like something is there.
But you could probably add those 20 back if you take the space along Meridian, which is green, and
Yeah.
just cut that back into parking space.
That's what I was thinking, you could.
And you still have a
But
lot
still
of
have
trees
some
and
green.
greenery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they counted 140, which was there before. And I know the one comment was they're not lying, so they tried to make sure they could count them as best they could.
Mhm.
So that could be 140 plus or minus a little bit. So-
Joanne, do you have the same count for that lot?
Do I have what?
The same parking space, 140 there?
I was just looking, no, I don't have anything on the sheets here that say how many there were supposed to be in there.
Okay, I was just curious.
I think it was 120 if I'm not mistaken. No, just kidding.
Yeah, that's enough.
So here's another view of it. And again, how many spaces do you need? This is 100 spaces. You know, so it just gives you some alternatives to
Mhm.
think about.
Mhm.
Well, there are like 90 employees as is. And then, like I said, there are 4 courts that will have jurors at any given time. The jurors that come to be,
Mhm.
you know, decided whether they're staying or not, and then you have 12 at least, or 14 for each judge, you know, and they all park there.
Yeah.
I don't even think, I mean, I think the way it's open in some of the areas now, we probably have public from Ravenna who park there because there's not a lot of parking around the front of the courthouse when you're going there to do
Yeah.
business.
Mhm.
So, I think that, you know, a lot of it gets used not necessarily just for our benefit, but
Yes.
some public does
Yes.
go in there and use, which is a great thing.
Yep.
Because like I said, there's not a lot of parking right around the courthouse when
Yeah.
they're
And I
looking
know
for it.
like the church and stuff has used our parking lot there,
All the
the one
time.
closest, all the time
Yeah.
they use it. I mean, so.
It's usually at nighttime though.
Because parking is such a prime in Ravenna to even have parking, so.
Yeah.
But the green space around it does look pretty nice.
Yeah, and again, I mean, this is 100 spaces. I mean, you know, you can, the idea is that you can take a look at this and manipulate it
Right.
enough to figure out how to do it. But the key is to make it something that when people come into town for the first time, they're saying, this is nice. Jason held a meeting with a Zoom meeting with some of the high school classes when we walked through the whole plan. And I was on that meeting. It was interesting. We asked some of the students, where do you go when you want to hang out? They say, well, we go to Kent. Why do you go to Kent? What brings you to Kent? They said, you know what? We can sit outside, and we can sit down by the park, down by the river, we can sit by the stores, there's places outside for us to sit and have a coffee. Ravenna doesn't have any of that. I'm thinking, well, I used to sit at the Army Navy store, but that doesn't count. But the idea is that it was inviting to have them sit and visit with their friends. It became their living room, you know, for them to hang out in. The other comment was it just feels dirty in Ravenna. You know, and again, I think that gets to a lot of the asphalt and a lot of the way it's looked up. So I think some of these things will really help us get that sense of place back where we want it.
Does this plan call for lighting in that parking lot?
I'm sure that if lighting's required, they would put lighting in it. I don't know the answer to
I'm just thinking
that.
if you're gonna use it at night,
Be well lit,
Yeah,
for security too.
yeah.
yeah. And the nice thing about, well, what you said about using it at night, and one of the things that we have to think a little bit about is how can you share the parking places?
Right.
Because some places need them from 8 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if we want people to come downtown in the evening, you know, to do something, where can they park?
Evening, weekends, right?
Absolutely.
And I know like
absolutely.
even the IC Hall uses ours as
Yeah,
overflow
absolutely.
for their events as well. So we are very open to allowing the public, actually all of our lots, aren't they, Joanne, open?
The only one that is not at this point is during the daytime, the gated lot at Spruce.
Sure.
But at 5 o'clock or 4:30, when that
The gate
building
goes up.
closes, they put the arms up so that the city, anybody
Can
coming to
use
the
it.
city can park back behind the Riddle areas there. Yes.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the courthouse lot. We don't,
Sure.
so I know, I'm sure that the church uses the parking lot on
Absolutely.
weekends and things like that for some of their stuff as well.
Yeah, we're real good neighbors in that sense of allowing.
Yeah. Well, these are a couple of additional sketches on it. So one of the reasons we wanted to come in
Uh-huh.
and talk a little bit about it is, as you start thinking a little bit about what you want to do with the parking lots, you know, and again, not just this parking lot that we're showing here, but also if you start looking at stuff down in this parking lot, you know, around this building and the one partway through, you know, what can you do to help, you know, make that sense of place, you know, come alive so that the first time when somebody comes in, they don't see just an asphalt parking lot, but they see a place where people have pride in their location, pride in the city, pride in the county.
And we had talked
Maybe
about
understand.
signage too, maybe
Yeah.
some of the verbiage on the signage and, you know.
That's a
things-
good point, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Barber, does the city of Ravenna already have an arborist?
I believe they do.
Yeah,
Okay.
they share it with Stowe.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that's a good point, because one of the things
Adding all
that,
these trees, where there are already a lot of trees.
one of the things you have to do is make sure you use the right type of tree in the right area. I
They
learned
still
that
need
from Mr.
maintenance.
Kentner as well, yeah.
Yeah, they're not good to our sewers.
But I think that's the no, this one just goes back to the first one, but that's the last one we have, so. Again, it's just to get people thinking about how we can do that. Then you talk to your, you know,
And
an
John,
engineer to say, how do we really make something like this
Our
happen?
bill, the comment I made earlier about if we were to expand the court, could Jason do a rendering keeping our parking spots the same, but maybe seeing what it would look like. What could we do with what we currently have versus taking away parking spots? Because we eventually are gonna need them again. So could he maybe do, what kind of rendering could he come up with utilizing the 140 spaces? Because like I said, we go adding another court there, we're gonna need everything, so.
That would really just be coming towards Vicky, is that some of that green space you have on the outskirts up at the bottom side, shrinking that a little bit, even though keeping the trees and the green space and that picture frame kind of that you had there.
But what could, maybe, I would just be interested to see what we could do with what we currently have.
Yeah, you know, I'd have to talk to Jason, I mean,
Yeah.
we sort of had this part and then we sort of tied that up, we're getting the
Sure.
final report from him
Do
coming up.
you have a time frame that any of this would begin? Because you have across the street behind the businesses, by the movie theater. And are you gonna be doing this in blocks? Where's the first target that you'd like to go after?
And where's the funding from this going to be from?
I think there are a couple ways to look at that, and I think the one thing is, and Dave and I will be talking with some of the folks after this, how do we move from the next step from conceptual design to
Right.
putting a plan together that says, let's do these, you know, so we have to have representatives from, you know, all the major stakeholders that say, okay, let's do something like this. Boy, some of that stuff's being put together though. I think that as some of the entities say, you know, let's do something here. It's a small one project. Let's sort of light that, I don't want to call it.
Catalyst, the project that's gonna kick it off, that other people wanna
Well,
jump
yeah.
on board and, yeah.
So, yeah, just something that says, let's take one project. Let's fix this. And then we'll see how that grows out. If you try to do everything at once, it's not gonna happen, but you need to step up.
So you guys have been doing this for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Where's the number one place? Is it behind by the movie theaters? Is it down Main Street? Is it behind the courthouses? Have you thought about where your dream list would be? I wanna start here.
Priorities.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think what we want to do is start, I call it low-hanging fruit, and stuff that's financially possible, and without people saying, oh, I can't afford it. Well, so if you really want to know the truth, I would say your parking lot and the city parking lot that Bill was showing us, that those are two areas that are highly visible and have a huge impact right away. And if people see that, they're gonna say, yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. And you know, we are slated to repave that
Yeah.
entire parking lot. I think, Joanne, we got estimates almost close to $1 million, was it, or am I dreaming?
No.
I work in
you're
my
not
sleep, I'm serious.
Yeah, no.
No, I know, Ruth, but I thought it was gonna cost a lot to, because it hasn't been.
It hasn't been
done
done for so
It has
long
to
that we
be.
have to, you know, we
I
have to
think it's
take
supposed
all
to
of the
run.
concrete out and start fresh.
So you gotta
And we
redo
were
the
gonna
whole base.
be able to take some of those,
And restripe it, I mean, just
the
doing
green
that
that's
will-
in the middle of everything and make it parking and, you know, it was a total redesign. Take out those guardrails that are nothing
Yeah.
but rust bucket things, you know, the whole 9 yards.
to.
So it was a total redo, a cost of which we do not have really yet.
Oh, okay.
A conceptual idea because we haven't gone to the next step about getting an engineer for their design.
Yeah.
But that's why this has been good to, you know, to hear,
To hear,
so
yeah.
that we can possibly put everything together and come up with a really great
If-
comprehensive plan.
Is it feasible that the people that you wanna get for engineers, they meet with Jason, or the county meet with Jason and focus on this lot? If that's the place we wanna go to start beautifying Ravenna, is a parking lot, is the people that we have to hire, you already got Jason working a lot on this, that we can combine the two?
He's doing work, I think, with Niles or Warren. I mean, he's working with cities in northeast
Yeah,
Ohio.
he's a planner, he's not an engineer.
He's
though.
he's an architect,
Yeah.
right?
The landscape architect.
Yeah,
Okay.
but, yeah, so
Right.
to get with us, I mean, because he's got some nice ideas.
Yeah.
Rather
Right.
than inventing the wheel, we could
Yeah.
save us
Because
money.
there's, exits coming out of there that we don't need to have any longer, that would go away, I think, and probably that's what you can, in the rendering you see there, but it's not just evident as the way that they were before, but it's definitely, I think it would be a very doable thing to get together and put all the ideas, what our needs are, plus be able to meet some of the beautiful things that, you want to try to do.
Well, it's interesting, you mentioned that the park, or the driveways on that, and one
Yeah.
of the things he did on this particular one, he said, take this all the way off with the entrance on Parkway. He says, that way you don't have people coming off down here and over here, so you have better traffic control and it's safer as well.
Exactly, yeah. And I think I saw something in some rendering that there was like a bus pull-off kind of thing, which, that would be a great thing too, for PARTA or anybody that's got, coming through and wanting to do that, so
Yeah.
I think it could be doable.
Great.
Well, and if you're interested in, we've got the rest of the plan. I know we showed you bits and pieces of it earlier on, but if you're interested in seeing where it's
This
stands
is a big
now-
part for us, where you're at right now,
Yeah.
because that parking lot's gonna happen soon.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I mean, we're already,
Yeah.
We'd like to, yeah.
priority for us this
Yeah,
year.
I'd like to
So
see
we'd
if
like
we
to know
can.
the end result that we want before we start.
Yeah.
Can we bring what we need, in which you have Jason's design for you, put those together and come with a compromise that's gonna happen.
Maybe
Soon.
Bill, get with Joanne and get her information, because Joanne's our internal services that oversees those projects.
Yeah.
So, Joanne, maybe
Yeah.
get
Absolutely.
Mr. Barber your
That would be a
information.
conversation that
Absolutely,
should happen
absolutely.
like now.
Okay, yep, and
Great.
again, I'll talk to Jason. He's teaching and has his
Yeah.
consulting
He's
firm.
a busy- busy
I
guy.
can't say sure he'll be happy to do it. He's
But
got-
I don't know if happy, but we know the parking lot's gonna get redone.
Yeah,
this
no,
year.
and I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
I think that it's absolutely imperative. And Jason, he's still a Ravenna guy.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yep,
absolutely, that's great. But that's, this is a great place to start, I think that suggestion is great, we're gonna do the parking lot, how do we
That's
introduce
the
it?
lowest
Okay.
hanging
If we're
fruit,
gonna-
I think.
Yeah, it's gotta happen, yeah. 3/4 of it has to happen, period.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
That sounds great.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you
for
for hearing
coming.
us.
Anyone
Thanks
has
for
a
coming.
appreciate your.
Good seeing you, gentlemen, again.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Barber, for coming in.
Oh,
Thanks,
happy to do
David.
it.
Thank
Oh,
you.
sorry, David, sorry. Let me see, this is, now I have to make the changes because this is yours. That's still your.
Thank you.
Oh, you bet. It's good to see you. How, you been feeling okay?
Yeah,
Great, great.
I'd like to be 20 years younger and working again.
I know, when we all,
We haven't destroyed it.
Oh, it's in my pocket.
Oh, good.
Oh, it was okay, but
Thank you very
it's nice
much.
to be working.
You know, in Hilton
Yeah.
Head and every.
Yep, I've been here.
they've got-
Virginia Beach, I like that.
I see your name a lot in the paper.
So I would like to give the 20 years younger this year too, if I see all these things coming.
Good to see you.
That's all. Yep.
Thank you.
Exactly.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
Great, good to see you.
Appreciated your time
Okay, great, thank
and
you.
comments. Cheers, thanks very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye, David.
Bye-bye.
I didn't bring any business
Yeah,
cards up
okay.
to me, do you? You want me to just write my stuff on a piece of paper?
No, I already got it. I already got it typed out what I'm gonna say. Okay, so let's go ahead and address the miscellaneous
Okay.
list. We can,
Where are we?
So last page.
the last page of that. Yeah, there you go.
All right. We're out of the, okay. Board of Commissioners approves the April 1st, 2021 regular meeting minutes, April 6th, 2021 special meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, roll call?
Tony?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Board of Commissioners acknowledgement of the receipt of March 26, 2021 certificate